ice down there this weekend. But it was actually pretty cool, and I'm glad that I could go out there and interact with people in the community and just have lots of fun while I'm doing what I'm doing. Because at the end of the day, we gotta have fun with doing what we're doing, and if we're not having fun, then I might as well just pack it up and go home.
Big facts, big facts.
And so I know we're waiting for a caller to call in, but one of the things I noticed about downtown is that as far as law enforcement goes downtown, there was a lot of law enforcement downtown, and I'm not sure if it's because of the event, but they look a lot more relaxed walking downtown than walking around this side of town. And I saw, I went up and I spoke to a couple officers from CSPD, which was pretty cool. And actually, before I even introduced myself as a sheriff candidate, they were willing to talk, and that's what we talked about last week, is approaching our officers and our deputies when you see them on the street, because they're just wanting somebody to talk to while they're out there on patrol. So, it was just pretty cool having that interaction with them and being able to reinforce what I actually said and actually see play out in real time.
Mm-hmm. And how was the conversation? Were they welcoming towards you?
Actually, the conversation was very... Hey, Caesar, we got our first caller on the line.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from
the jail.
an inmate at the El Paso County Criminal Justice Center. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call,
Let's say you've
hang
reached
up
the
or
Crisis
press
Hotline,
1.
Karl Dent.
This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink. Hello?
Hey, you've reached the Crisis Hotline. This is Karl Dent speaking.
How you doing? I'm looking for hopeful Sheriff Karl Dent, please.
Hey, you're talking to the man himself.
Hey, Mr. Dent, my name is Coach. We'll just put it that way. I'm not trying to be found underneath the jail with some mold or some sort of, Hey, on the real though, a lot of people hope you really become sheriff, Mr. Dent. Because that crook elder and his good old boys are running our city into the ground. That clown Roy Baum, he ain't gonna be no different either. Kissing ass and covering up crimes for 30 years don't make him a good candidate for sheriff. Our taxpayer dollars are being stolen by these scumbags to lock up the homeless people. 7 to 10% of the people in this place are justified incarcerated. And that's a stretch on the 10%. This place is a joke, Mr. Dent. And it's a black eye on the city, the same as that scumbag Makita who was robbing and pillaging from the spring just to build it. Let's remember, they didn't want us to build this jail. We hope you become sheriff, Mr. Dent. Look at it this way. Out of 100% of the CJC population, this is how it basically breaks down. 85% of us, it doesn't matter who you are, white, black, brown, yellow, or orange, you're here for domestic violence. I myself personally are a victim of this as well. From a woman who knows how to play the system who I've never put my hands on before. But yet I'm here again on my way back to the penitentiary. 5 to 10% of that 85 is our military or off-duty police having arguments with their old ladies. Whoever calls the police first becomes the winner in a Wild Wild West style gunfight. Everybody knows these laws are a joke and only haven't changed because it's a cash cow for certain people in charge of our tax dollars. The other 75% of 85 is our homeless and unrepresented population who sit in county jail with bonds, a lot of times less than $100. They can't get out. So they take a conviction just to get the hell out of this miserable ass place. Most of the time they didn't even commit their crimes. El Paso County is pathetic on how they monetize pain and suffering, while the real criminals, who many times hold official titles, go free. Shout out to Terry Makita. 95% of these DAs need to be indicted for the false charges they filed, as well as the stacking of charges on folks. Probably weren't aware of this fact, but the trial conviction rate here in Colorado is less than 10%, because they force us to take in plea bargains, boosting their own rep while we face 40 years for a crime most of us didn't even commit. That's just being cowards who prey on people while literally stealing dollars from people who work here, work hard, paying taxes. It's truly disgusting. I want to speak about the conditions of this cesspool they call CJC for a second. I want you to ask yourself after these couple facts, are human rights being violated here? We had a TB outbreak a while back. Magically, when we started asking for the test to be provided for the rest of us, the man who had the TB, Jose Sanchez, disappeared. Left all eyesight. We didn't see what happened to him. What happened? They let him out, bringing the same health hazard out to the people of Colorado Springs. About a couple weeks ago, maybe even last week, Channel 13 ran a story on this jail. That was a crock of BS and lies. They didn't even bring him to the pod that there was no humans involved. They took him to 2 wards who have been cleaned out because of the Delta variant, and there's been a major spike in here. Right now, the whole entire kitchen ward is locked down due to the COVID and the Delta variant. You probably haven't heard about the 2 outbreaks stemming from the black mold in the kitchen either. So you've got guys from different wards volunteering to be working the kitchen and bringing back whatever they bring from the kitchen, whatever viruses, whatever, back and spreading it to the whole facility. About a month ago, the laundry room was shut down twice due to outbreaks in the women's unit. You didn't hear about that either. Right now, as we speak, local sheriff, 5 wards at least are on full lockdown quarantine due to the Delta pandemic. Public safety issues dire because the same staff that is being exposed daily who are watching over the people that are in the quarantine wards are being transferred to different wards where general population is. Just 2 weeks ago, 5 guys from my bay went to court. They didn't come back from court because the police put them in a van with a man that they knew had coronavirus, therefore cross-contaminating every single person in the van. Therefore, all those people, they didn't get to come back to the ward. They got put on full lockdown. WellPath, I don't know if you've ever heard of WellPath, that's the quote-unquote health providers in here. They're banned in 9 states and is outright denying all medical care to inmates. I speak for myself as an example. I have high cholesterol. I take Lipitor. I brought my medication in with me. It took me 2 weeks to give me my medication I brought in. Folks were asking for treatment. They're being denied. Well, let me tell you this. I'll be happy to be the voice of the silence men and women in here that are afraid they can't speak for themselves. Hopeful Sheriff Dent, man, we hope you save us in here, man. Because a lot of us, I take full responsibility for my crime. I didn't hurt nobody. I walked into a house after I was sent a message by a woman telling me to come over. When I went to the house, no one was there. The door was open. There was a video camera recording. I shouldn't have went to the house. I was upset that the woman sent me messages and videos doing some terrible, trifling stuff. I take full responsibility for what I'm in here for. Only you can save us. We hope to God that you become the new sheriff. Again, my name is Coach.
All right, Coach, I appreciate you calling. Hey, Coach, I appreciate you calling in, man. And so, you know, last week we talked about the 8th Amendment right, and you know, the right to be free from cruel and unusual punishment. And so, you know, for me and my campaign, what we're doing literally is that we're going back to the Constitution, man. And so, I know there's a lot of constitutional violation going on here in El Paso County, and it's not just the sheriff department. And I know we just got a new DA over there, but you know, the DA's office is very complicit in what's going on as well. And you know, there's a lot of overzealous DAs over there, and you know, they're violating the code of professional responsibility. And so what they're doing is it's all about stacking the record, man. It's all about how many convictions they could get. It's nothing to do with justice. And so that is the reason why I started this campaign, is because, man, we got to go back to the Constitution. We got to respect people's rights. And you know, for me, my campaign is not even a regular campaign, brother. This is a revival, and we got to, you know, go back to biblical principles and biblical principles of law, because, you know, we seem to forget that laws came from the first 10 commandments, and so that's why we're running this campaign. And so, man, when we get into the sheriff department, this is going to be a new leadership. And I could tell you, some people might as well start writing their resignation the day I get elected sheriff, because
hey,
we're
you know
going
what
to
I got to say to that? Amen. Amen. Because you know what? You're 100% correct. It does go back to the first 10 commandments. But once you step up in here, all that is gone. There ain't no more 10 commandments. There's no more respect or no more innocent till proven guilty. It's guilty till proven innocent, and we're treated as such.
And so,
man, like I said before, man, we pray to God. And I pray to God myself personally that you become elected.
and I know Michael Allen over there. He's yeah, I could tell you he's working hard, and he's a conservative, and he's open-minded, and he's willing to listen. So that's one thing I could say about him. And so I'll be definitely, trying my best to work with Mike once I get elected for sheriff of El Paso County, because there is going to be some changes coming down once I get in that position.
It's time for the talk to stop. Let's put it that way. He may say he's open-minded. He may say he's listening to you, but is he really? And like you said before, you mentioned earlier about the DAs being overzealous. You know that the conviction rate in Colorado, like I'll mention it again, is less than 10%. And the reason why it's less than 10%, Mr. Dent, is because they threaten you with so many years that you ain't got no choice but to take a plea bargain. And then taking that plea bargain is building that DA's credibility. And now they move up another step in the ladder. What most folks don't know is that the public defender's office, that's where they start off to be. They start off as public defenders, therefore building convictions and building their way into the DA's office. So the whole system just needs revitalized, and we hope that you're the guy to do it. I have full faith you are.
Hey, brother, hey, I appreciate it, man. And like I said, we're working hard every day, and I'm out in the community, just walking around, meeting different people. I'm even going to car washes just to go talk to people. That's how serious I take what I'm doing. So
that's where you go. That's where you gonna meet your realest people, is in the places that the most people, that the snobby and the snooty people won't show their faces. All the past sheriffs, they ain't gonna show up at a car wash. They're not gonna show up on Fountain and Shelton. They're not gonna show up at the Whitney Young Apartments, or the places that the most people won't show up to. I feel that you're the guy to show up in them places and actually get the real people's, what's really going on in the different neighborhoods that the other people ain't going to. So I respect that about you, and I thank you for that.
hey, I appreciate you calling in, and we'll be back next week. So you know how to get a hold of me.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, again, my name is Coach. I'm signing off. Thank you very much for your time. Have a good night.
All right, you too, Coach. Hey, stay safe in there.
Already. Thank you very much.
All right.
God bless you.
Thank you for using Global Telling.
How does that make you feel, hearing about how people are living on the other side?
So actually, the way I feel very empathetic to what Coach has gone through, and I feel heartbroken at the same time because, as we talked about earlier today, about the article that I saw that said there was no serious outbreak inside of the jail, and we kind of figured out that it was just a cover-up to silence everyone and get everyone to go away. And so, but we're hearing it live and direct from somebody on the inside.
Yeah.
And the problem is, like we talked about it last week, it's leaders have to make tough decisions. But whenever, as a leader, whenever you make that decision have to be the right decision. And we also talk about transparency. Well, in this case, if you're going to take the media to somewhere in some spot where there's nothing going on and there's no transparency there, and so you can't cover up when people have a telephone and able to call out. And so that once again, that's a breakdown in leadership. And if you want to lead, like I said last week, you have to lead from the front. You can't lead from behind. And so these are just miscalculation on the leadership of the sheriff department. So you have to come clean, and you have to come clean to the people that's going to vote for you. Like in this time and age, it's not about staying in power. It's about doing the right thing.